The mysterious mechanics of Indian democracy. Hey there, adventurers of knowledge. Ever wonder how the biggest democracy on this planet, India, actually runs? I mean, 900 million people voted in 2019. That's like more than the population of a couple of continents combined. So, how does this colossal democracy function? Let's dive into the epic tale of the Indian government. First things first. What kind of government does India have? Brace yourself for some jargon. India is a sovereign, socialist, secular democratic republic with a parliamentary form of government, which is federal in structure with unitary features. Phew. Try saying that 5 times fast. All right, let's break that down. Sovereign, socialist, and secular are pretty straightforward. A democratic republic means no monarchy. The people elect their representatives. The parliamentary system means the executive branch, the big bosses, gets its legitimacy from the legislative branch, the lawmaking squad. And federal with unitary features? Think of it as 28 states teaming up, but New Delhi has the final say. It's like the Avengers, but with more paperwork. Scene: animation of the 3 branches of the government. The Indian government has 3 branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. Let's start with the legislative branch, the Parliament of India. It's like the ultimate debating club, split into 2 houses: the Lok Sabha, House of the People, and the Rajya Sabha, Council of States. The Lok Sabha is the lower house, kind of like the US House of Representatives or the UK House of Commons. Up to 550 members get elected from across the country, serving 5-year terms unless the president says, "Game over," sooner. The Rajya Sabha, the upper house, is more like the Senate or House of Lords. It has 238 members elected by state legislatures and 12 appointed by the president. These folks serve 6-year terms with a third up for re-election every even-numbered year. It's like rotating the tires on your car, but with politicians. The legislature's main gig: passing laws, debating big issues, and keeping an eye on the executive branch. The Prime Minister, elected from the Lok Sabha, leads the charge. The party with the majority gets to choose the Prime Minister, but they can also give them the boot if needed. Talk about job insecurity. At the top of the executive branch, we have a dynamic duo: the President and the Prime Minister. The President is the head of state, currently Draupadi Murmu. The Prime Minister, currently Narendra Modi, is the head of government. While the Prime Minister is the star quarterback, the President plays more of a ceremonial role, like the mascot, but with more responsibilities and fewer high fives. The President is elected by Parliament and state legislatures, whereas the Prime Minister is picked from the Lok Sabha. The Prime Minister also assembles the Union Council of Ministers, the Avengers of the Indian government, heading various ministries from defense to tribal affairs. These ministers fall into categories: Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, the sidekick, Cabinet Ministers, the main heroes, Ministers of State, independent charge, who work solo, and Ministers of State who assist the Cabinet Ministers. Now let's talk justice, the judicial branch. At the top is the Supreme Court of India, led by a Chief Justice and 30 Associate Justices. Their mission? To review laws and ensure nothing unconstitutional slips through. India is divided into 28 states and 8 union territories. Each state has its own government, like mini Indias, led by chief ministers and governors. The states have legislative assemblies, and some even have bicameral legislatures like the national parliament. Scene: animation of the executive branch with the president and prime minister. Union territories, however, are a bit different. They're mostly governed by the union government, but some, like Delhi and Puducherry, have their own local governments. It's a mix of direct rule and local autonomy, the best of both worlds, kind of like having a cake and eating it too. And there you have it. A whirlwind tour of the Indian government, from the grand parliament halls to the state assemblies. Remember, if I've missed anything or you've got a nugget of wisdom to share, drop it in the comments. Let's learn together.